I knew you'd forget Flex.
Yeah,
I could notice. I didn't want to click it. I didn't want to click it. I could see.
I was actually doing an experiment. I left it. I think that should slide straight into the other one, but maybe it won't because we're doing this new format and it's all learning curves. What we have learned today, big up to everyone. Good evening. Well, actually, no, we haven't learned anything. It's always the same. Kevin Gary, he's just not here.
First name, full name sentence,
absolutely terrible in the group. Hasn't confirmed nor denied. Usually when he does that, you ring him and goes, "Of course I am." If you don't hear me say I'm not here, then I'm here.
That's the rule. That is the rule, and I can confirm that is the rule because plenty of time I've done that phone call and gone, "Hey, KG, you in for 7 o'clock?" Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, fine, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, he has confirmed his absence to me. Just now. Breaking news. I will not be able to pull up tonight, bro. No problem. Okay, no problem. Okay. Well, thank you for letting us know.
6 minutes past 7.
Exactly. Apart from one short, it is the originals. Big up to Owen. Big up to Marcel. Big up to the champion, the greatest champion, Kenny. He's got silverware and bowls, apparently. He's been winning all the tournaments. He has. And big up to Mina as well. Mina's on like a purple lilac kind of background, new background. I liking that. What is that?
Is it not blue? I thought it was blue.
Is that blue? Yeah,
purplish. It's purple.
Yeah, purplish. You saying that's blue? Okay.
Oh no, it's blue to me.
Really? Okay. Looking kind of lilac-y. But yeah, big up everyone in the chat, man. Newcastle destroying Sheffield United. That is wow, the 9-0's in jeopardy. We need to keep hold of as many records as we can. So hopefully they don't better that anyway. We got a lot to talk about, man. Ten Hag fights back. United crisis over ? Squad shake up. We got Crystal Palace back to back. And there were some okay performances yesterday. Nothing to shout about, but we got through it. And now we're just looking at a little bit of calm, supposedly. So, what was that? Marcel's holding his mic. He's doing what he's doing. We'll start with you. I don't know what Marcel's doing.
No.
You good, Marcel? No.
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 No, he's
I don't
not.
think he is. No, he's Jesus. Look at him. Just look at this guy. Honestly. Yes, Star Lord. Chelsea being Chelsea as well. Mina, we'll start with you, man. What are you saying? Are we gonna get a little bit of calm now? Ten Hag fights back. Did he put down a little marker there so we can turn a corner?
Listen, 3 points, clean sheet, positive. But I don't think there was anything positive in the entire performance. I don't think there was any sort of Marcel's throwing me off right now, just the way he's stepping out. Throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Throwing me off a bit. But for me, yesterday's performance, I'm just happy with the 3 points. I don't think the performance was anything to shout about. Newly promoted team who have been dominated at home by Manchester City. We got Sheffield United in a few weeks. Can we even put 3 past them, let alone 8, the way Newcastle did today? I'm not too sure about that. I wouldn't say we've turned the corner, but it's a good time to pick up some sort of form. Whether it's consistent form or not, that's a different story. We've got Palace back to back. Obviously, we've got, I think, FC Copenhagen. Then we've got Sheffield United at some point. The injuries, for me, is the biggest concern. It's like everyone's just falling like flies. Reguilon picking up a knock yesterday, having to come off. Lisandro Martinez not being in the matchday squad. We're literally 2 injuries maybe away from seeing a back 4 that consists of Casemiro and McTominay. We could have a back 4 of Dalot, Casemiro, McTominay, and Amrabat. 3 of them who are not defenders. It's scary. It's actually quite concerning. The silver lining in it is that Varane came back yesterday. He adds some sort of calmness in the team, which I really appreciate. Mason Mount should be back soon. Obviously, it's just it's a roller coaster. Right now, it's gone down. We're trying to get back up. But for me, some of the players, questionable performances that they keep putting in. Questionable.
Yeah.
And I think we have every right to criticize it. We have every right to question it and demand better. Like in particular, just yesterday's game, I don't know how Scott McTominay and Rashford did not get hooked. I don't know how they got hooked for that performance. This is a newly promoted team who ain't won I think he's back now. There you go. He's back. He's back.
Sorry about that.
This is a newly promoted team that ain't won a game yet, that have struggled to really find anything in the Premier League so far. We should easily be cruising past them. Even at our worst, we should be cruising past them. A lot of the people that played yesterday are like second, third, fourth choice in their positions. We should still... Johnny Evans, I respect Johnny Evans for his performance yesterday because I was critical about it. And what I ask for from players is that when they come in, when they're third, fourth, fifth choice, give 100%. Yeah, and a lot of people don't do that. And that's why I respect Johnny Evans' performance yesterday, because so many players come in, you know, second choice, third choice. They're not the manager's number one choice. And they put in a stinker. But Johnny Evans didn't do that. So I respect him for that. Probably one main positive that we could take away from the game. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself and be like, title charge, we're back. But
what charge?
But hopefully, you know, this will be the beginning, you know, of something positive, because you see how much it meant to Ten Hag. He was celebrating the goal like it was a Champions League winner. Like we won the Champions League. Fingers crossed it just gets better, man. Yeah,
that's what we needed to. Does that show the importance, Kenny? Like what Mina's saying there, Ten Hag, the way he was celebrating the goal and how he spoke afterwards. Was that yesterday just a just get through, just win.
Kenny's gone.
Yeah, it's the show's going strong today. Yeah, the show.
What's going on? Wow, this is insane. Well, I thought that was a bit of a short answer for Kenny. He normally talks longer than that.
Yeah.
Well, since you're still there, Marcel.
Yes.
For now. Until he comes back. For now.
Oh no, mine was a temporary mishap. Quickly.
I forgot what I even asked Kenny.
Must win.
Marcel, what do you want to say? What do you want to say, Marcel?
That was a needs must. That was a needs must, Fleck. You know, you was obviously saying that Mina needs to keep predicting things because the goal came at a very good time, you know, in the game, you know, with the Evans header. Got disallowed, which I think was kind of unfair to be disallowed, if I'm honest with you guys. Obviously, you know, he was kind of impeding it, the keeper, but the header went directly into the goal. So even when I'm looking at it, like just a lot of these decisions that have gone against us throughout the season have been like in really thin, close calls. You know, the Garnacho goal against Arsenal, it's literally hairline. Even the Rashford pass back to Højlund for his debut goal, which would have been an important goal for Højlund, I think, you know, get his confidence. It's been thin, but it's been margins, and even them hitting the post against, you know, Burnley, they hit the post the other day. If that had gone in, the game could have turned on its head, a completely different football match. So we played poorly, funny enough, against Burnley the other day, but we get a result and it's a needs must. So really, really happy. I'm excited to see Hannibal now get minutes. If Hannibal can somehow, you know, find a way, but that's the kind of player now that kind of replaces the industry of Bruno Fernandes when he's not in the 10. Usually when Bruno's in the 10, you've got a lot of running, dynamism, and then when you take him out of the 10 and you put Eriksen in, for example, you lose a lot of that. But if you got Hannibal in there, he looked good, man. So I'm happy for him. And I just want to see Amrabat just add some more balance to that midfield for us, because obviously there were still times where we were just getting bullied in there. Casemiro looking all over the place. So you just can't. I feel like we went a little bit backwards in the sense that the game on Sunday, we reverted back to our 4-2-3-1, which is something that we're not looking to do going forward. We're trying to start a base of the 3-1-6, the 3, whatever it is, just having 3 central centre backs there. But I'm really happy. This is going to build. We're going to be at Old Trafford now against Crystal Palace back to back. That's a qualification and 3 points. Then you got Champions League. That should be another 3 points for the group. We're at home now. Confidence should come in for the players. A Bruno goal, which is always good to see. I don't know why we should be upset now, man. Players are coming back fit. You know, Money Mount should be coming back fit. Højlund's on the way up. I'm happy, man. I'm looking forward to the turnaround of performances. We saw this happen last season where players were playing poorly or we was in a bit of a rut. Everyone's saying, you know, the Glazers need to turn things around. Ten Hag will figure out the way. He hasn't had all his players. Once he gets all his players back, expect the football to progress.
I hear you. Kenny, you back? You good?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit more pessimistic or realistic than what Marcel is, because
not realistic.
Whatever. Yeah, we've been served a dose of realism today, haven't we? You know, we go away against the bottom 3 club and we struggled last night. We came away and was thankful. Newcastle go away to the bottom 3 club, they score 8. You know, and you've got to be realistic on this, in that all our fears at the beginning of the season about which teams were going to be our challengers, forget City, forget Arsenal, forget Liverpool. You've now got Brighton, you've got Tottenham, you've got Villa, the teams that we all mentioned, that we all had a real fear of for that top 4 place, and now all performing better than us. You know, I'll even put West Ham into that as well. So and we're saying it every week. We've got to win our next game. We've got to every game now is it's a game on the precipice of either we're euphoric or we're depressed. And if you look at our next 3 games and be realistic, we lose to Palace, we're out the cup that we won. We lose to Palace in the league, we're below half the table. We lose to Galatasaray, and we're probably out that group in the Champions League. So the next 3 games are just as massive as what the last 6 have been. And that's realistic. That's being realistic. We have very few players coming back. You know, we've already touched on it. Johnny Evans was outstanding last night. It was superb. You know what I mean? Harry Maguire could never do one of them passes to Bruno. If he played from there till he was 103. He couldn't do it. He doesn't have it in his locker. Johnny Evans did it. And I have more faith in Johnny Evans playing in that position than I ever will have at Harry Maguire, even at 35 years of age. So I'm just being, I don't know. I like Ireland. I love Ireland. I think he's really got that between his teeth, and he wants to do it. I'm concerned about young Rashford. I think everybody's on his back. Last night, when he should have passed, he shot, and when he should have shot, he passed. So I think that lad's getting a little bit confused with this, and confidence is going to become an issue with Marcus, and he is a confidence player. But I thought Bruno was good. The real positive for me last night was Casemiro. I thought Casemiro was almost back to normal, and he looks lean and mean, to be fair. He looks lean and mean. So I'm not as, how can I put it? I'm not as optimistic as what Marcel is, but I'm still not looking at what we're doing. I'm looking at what these other teams are doing, and these other teams are playing well. Tottenham today, I thought were outstanding. I thought Arsenal were lucky, if I'm being honest. But Arsenal have that. They've got enough in the locker, Arsenal, to keep them in that top 4. We have got to get into that top 4 to start with. We're a long way off it. We're 2 or 3 wins away. And I look at Liverpool last season, and I'm doing a comparator for us because Liverpool had a lot of injuries last year, and we were all laughing at them. They had no back 4. They was putting everybody into the back 4. Milner was centre half, and we're doing exactly the same. And when all the players come back just after Christmas, they had a fantastic run. And that fantastic run just missed out on getting that top 4. Now, this year, there's that many teams hovering around the top 4 and, you know, down to 8, and we can see who they are. Then, if we don't pick up points very, very quickly, we're going to be like Liverpool last year. But will we have enough in the locker to get over into that top 4? And already, we're not talking about Champions League. We're not talking about winning the league or coming second. We're being realistic and saying top 4 from where we're starting now would be a big achievement. It would be a big achievement.
We do.
That's
we do
just
need
me.
A,
and
we do need a top 4.
I'm being realistic. We definitely need a top 4.
No, I hear you. I hear you on that. I hear you. I think for me, I just think we're going into a period of games, luckily, and it is luckily, that they're against favourable opposition, against teams where even if we're not at our best, we can nick it or we can get a tight result. And in turn, because we're playing a big group of those at the minute, that might build confidence. I think at the minute, if we have to play somebody who's good, anybody who's if we have to play, say it was, obviously we saw what happened against Brighton, but let's include them. We've had to play them at this time. We've had to play Newcastle home or away, Villa home or away. Then obviously the big ones like Liverpool, City, and et cetera, et cetera. If we had to play those guys at the minute, we'd probably struggle with the injuries that we've got and the confidence. But this is a favourable run, which is why I think after one game, I agree with what Mina was. I agree with what everyone said so far. we can't get carried away. You know, yesterday
No.
I was in Turf Moor. I was a nervous wreck. I was not comfortable watching that. You know, for many reasons. You know what it's like when you're in the stadium, but also
I know.
I just know what we're like. You know, when you're seeing them playing so comfortably in the first 20 minutes, you know, they hit the post where there was a save from James Trafford from Bruno left foot. So you're like, okay, that's one apiece, but they really should have scored theirs. You know, getting in 1v1 situations, we have to, you know, Onana had a save from a header. And I'm like, Burnley look all right here. This doesn't feel like I'm playing Burnley and at the bottom of the league. You know what I mean? I was like, this is a knife edge. And even once we'd scored, the more the game went on, we defended well. So they didn't bash down the door in the second half. But we wasn't trying to impose ourselves on the ball and make it so that they were disheartened and they didn't have the ball. It was almost us saying, listen, we just need to get through this. Just be compact. If they let them have it, they're not going to hurt us. Let's just defend properly. So it was a bit of a weird one like that. So I just think we're in this period where we've got to win these batch of games. Like one game doesn't change it all. One game doesn't change it. It's the start.
Ten Hag was kind of the same though, wasn't he? When he said after the game, because he was asked about the subs, they said, well, you know, why didn't you really make any? So the only subs he made were like enforced. I had to make those subs through injury and all that kind of stuff. And he sort of said, well, you know, I knew the importance of the game and I didn't really want to upset anything. I think he, like every player on the pitch, was just like, let's just get through this. Let's just get through the game. Let's just get the win. And on the face of it, look, I mentioned this morning on Matchday Reloaded, that people will come for you and say, oh, you look at your standards, you're celebrating, you know, a struggling victory over Burnley or bottom of the table. Are you really doing that? And you go, yeah, we are. When you haven't won for like 3 games, you'll celebrate a win. And if we went around this panel before the game, we said, away win, clean sheet, will you take that? Yeah. Of course, given the circumstance that we are. And I look back to after the World Cup at the end of last season, coming out of that World Cup, we had a bit of a similar run where we had a lot of favourable games. Some of them were cup ties, but the majority of them were at home against teams that we should be beating. And by the time we got to the end of it, we were playing the likes of Man City at home. And we won that game because we had momentum. And that's what we don't have at the moment. We just got zero momentum and zero confidence, in addition to the injuries as well that we've got. And I just feel like at this point, let's just build up momentum, win the games we should be winning at the moment. Let's face it, the majority of the games now through October, we should be winning. I think like 6 out of them are at home or something like that. Out of the 7 are at home. And by the time we get to City at home, it's going to be a big ask, obviously. But you hope by that point, there's enough momentum there that it's like, okay, we've got points on the board now. We're playing a bit better. Certain players coming back. Yeah. The crisis isn't as loud as it is, you know, at the moment. But some of those issues that are bubbling under, they're not going to go away anytime soon. You know, the Sancho situation, that's not going to get resolved. It doesn't look like till January until he goes. The ownership situation, that's not going anywhere anytime soon. It looks like that's moving at a snail's pace. So those issues are going to continue to remain there. And you kind of look at, KG mentioned it last night, it's so true. You look at like Johnny Evans is a great example of this. What's the best way to sort of curb any criticism? It's performances. Just put in a performance. Johnny Evans, I'll hold my hands up. I can't believe we're signing him. I can't believe it. I watched him in pre-season. I thought his legs are gone. I thought there's no way he can play in the Premier League for Manchester United. How do you stop that criticism? Put a good performance. And it's the same for any player that's under fire at the moment. If Marcus Rashford next week shows up, scores 2 goals and gets an assist for Højlund, we're not talking about that as much anymore. We're going, right, Rashford's back. Same with Harry Maguire if he does play. Put in a performance. Same for whoever. It's all about performances. It's about standing up. And I think if anything, it's actually quite fitting, or it's quite eye-opening rather, that our best players in the last 2 or 3 games through this difficult period are all players that thought, I'm going to be nowhere near Man United's team. Johnny Evans never thought he'd be playing for United again. Sergio Reguilon thought, play for United. I'm 3rd choice at Spurs. Hannibal Mejbri, he's looking like, well, play at a 10. Bruno Fernandes is at Manchester. I'm not going to be playing there. Those players are all thinking to themselves, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be getting this opportunity, but circumstances have dictated. And guess what? I'm going to take my opportunity and I'm going to fight. And they're standing out. And I think that's fair play to them.
Yeah, they are. Get to the super chats. Ian, big up to you for the contribution. Red Baron says, am I sane, but is there a rift in the fan base? Some toxic pundits knowing exactly what they are doing to feed red meat to negative consumers. That's always as it is, to be fair. My arch nemesis, old Andy boy's back. Big up, Andy. Andy says, Flex, you're a joke. You act like a 5-year-old. You act like a 5-year-old at a Justin Bieber concert. I don't know if much 5-year-olds go to a Justin Bieber concert. That's probably not good as well.
No.
I don't know. I don't know, mate. I'd probably get the officials or the services involved if you're taking a 5-year-old to a Justin Bieber concert, mate. Shouldn't really be doing that, Andy. Don't give away your secrets, lad.
Yeah.
Post game, waiting for players. Too giddy still. Can't. So I'm too giddy.
Yeah.
Calm yourself, okay?
Yeah,
So I need to keep that calm, and I need to be professional, okay? Andy, I'm going to take your advice, and I'm going to do absolutely nothing
being
with it.
a fan. Stop it. Stop being a fan right now. Stop enjoying yourself, Flex. That's what you got to do. Stop enjoying yourself. Stop having fun.
Enjoying yourself. Big up, man, like Andy, my arch nemesis. Always here every show. I actually admire Andy's consistency. Andy's always here. Always here. Big up to you, Andy.
Imagine that was real life. Imagine he slipped you a $5 and went, don't have fun, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Aminor says Spurs have identity with 5 games. Why not us? Yeah, a lot of people are talking about that. And Postecoglou doing his thing. He's got Spurs playing some good stuff. Obviously, it's early doors, 6 games into his tenure. Out the Carabao Cup at the first time of asking. Don't forget that. They got it's Spurs. They're supposed to be different and win stuff. They're out the Carabao Cup straight away. But in the league, look, he is doing some great stuff.
We should have 2 penalties against them. 2.
Yeah,
2 penalties
exactly. So maybe they're getting a little bit of rubber to green. I don't know, but no, they're definitely doing well. Lil Yo-Yo says Fleck mentioned this earlier to Owen. The 360 from you talking to Rio out his car window to working with Rio and having him on the channel. Yeah, accolades, big up the community. That's what happens. Hard work, perseverance, man. You keep pushing. Appreciate you, Lil Yo-Yo. Red Baron says we are a badly run club though. No surprises. Yeah, absolutely. And Sandro says we are always good in praising other teams. Last season was the same. Oh, look at X. Look at Y. We ended up being better than most of them. Yeah, finished first. That's true.
Fair comment.
That is a fair comment, Sandro. Andy H. This is a different Andy, just to let you know. Says we talk about Flex Judge, but have we listened to the names in KG's Onana song? Aside from Bruno, everyone has had issues. #free flex.
That is an interesting one. That is an interesting one.
I had my say on that Judge situation. It was a time in my life that, like I said, I reflect upon, and I've moved on. Me, my family, we've gone in a different direction. So whoever else is stuck with that, I wish them every success. Really.
Can you reveal who commented on that song as well the other day, Flex?
Yes, Beanie Man, actually, the actual Beanie Man, by the way. Here's one for you, Mina. Yeah, here's one for you, Marcel. Kenny, I don't know if you know Beanie Man.
Yeah, I've seen his channel. Yeah.
Yeah. He responded to the KG song. Me and KG doing a little medley of the Onana song. And he responded on Instagram. The King, the Doctor, big up Beanie Man. Yeah, so that is they're watching. You never know who's watching, mate. Basilo Addo says, no luck, Fleck. Every team gets a favourable run. Did you see City's first 6 games? Momentum is important. Kenny, City barely beat Sheffield 2-1. Chill. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Yeah, they last minute Rodri goal, and then a couple of weeks later.
Tottenham were the same last week. Tottenham were the same, 2 goals.
Yeah, last minute, exactly. So they've gone from doing all right against the big boys, and then that is a bit harsh. They've had a tough start, Sheffield United, don't they? With some of the teams they've had to play. David G says, I don't want to see Bruno, Rashford, or Casemiro start in the Carabao Cup. Give them a rest. Don't want to see Bruno playing 50+ games this season. And John says the main positive from the game yesterday was that we are sure Maguire will rarely play for us anymore. Like Owen said this morning, if anything, it means Johnny Evans now playing like that. You got to say you'd rather play him than Harry Maguire. Let's talk about actually how we should approach these next couple of games, because I was talking about this with Owen a little bit earlier. Was it you? Yeah, it was you. Can't remember. Talk so much football, can't remember. But basically, Marcel, that super chat says I don't want to see Casemiro, Bruno anywhere near the starting 11 in the Carabao Cup. How do we balance players need to come back? So rest is important considering we've got injuries versus we need some momentum. We need some, consistency. We need results as well. And you start changing things. What would you do Tuesday?
Well, firstly, I think he's automatically scrapped the evolution of the squad that he was trying to progress from the first game of the season, which is the 3-1-6. You know, so I think he's gone back to 4-2-3-1 just for the time being while he's going through all of this. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what he would do, and I don't even know what I would do, because there's so many problems coming up. You know, by Tuesday there's a new situation arising. But I would still try and go as strong as possible, and I would guess and assume that Ten Hag will go as strong as possible. So then, unfortunately, to that Super Giant, he ends up playing maybe Casemiro and Bruno. I don't think he'll play I don't think he'll play all three, but he'll definitely play two of them. Hopefully, we get to see Amrabat come in, so that means Casemiro gets the rest, and he's the one that rests. He always plays Bruno. Bruno always has to play in some.
Yeah, Bruno's definitely playing.
He's definitely playing, so he's part of it in some way or shape or manner. But it's going to be maybe Casemiro gets the rest, Bruno plays, and maybe Rashford comes off after. I would like to see Garnacho, Pellistri, or a couple of the young wingers, because we've got a lot of players in the wide areas that deserve minutes, or that we would like to see prove themselves, against bigger sides. So Garnacho, Pellistri, or either side of Højlund, or let Martial. So let's see how long Martial can play for in 90 minutes a game. And then Casemiro definitely needs to come out, take the rest. Let's see Amrabat control and show us the balance to the midfield. But the back line and the back four, I don't know. And unfortunately, what's really a gripe for me is that we're not seeing the evolution that I believe he's trying to implement into the team. He's going back to what was last season. What Casemiro, by the way, looks the best in, with another CDM next to him, all the players, what Bruno maybe looks the best in. Instead of having him in the half space with Mason Mount in the other half space, which is what we was trying to do for the last 3 home games against Wolves, against Forest, and it weren't working. Maybe he goes back to Bruno in the 10, a singular 10. That's when Bruno looks the most productive. That's when Bruno's had his best season for us, when he was the sole guy to go to for the creation and the goals. So it's a massive headache for Ten Hag, because a lot of the players that he maybe does select are fringe players for the next game. But you got to juggle the rest. You got to juggle all these things. So a 4-2-3-1 with your main players like Rashford having maybe 60 minutes, 50 minutes.
Okay, Mina, you trying to go strong? You trying to, does Johnny Evans play again? Now, what would you do at the back? Johnny Evans, if you're saying if Varane's on his way back, you got to nurse him back, but he needs minutes. But we're definitely going to need him to play against Palace at home for the Premier League game. So how do you just say Johnny Evans, Lindelof, but then Lindelof's playing a lot of games consistently? Does he need a rest? Because at the minute we've only got 3 fit centre backs. If Maguire's fit, do you just chuck him in the Carabao Cup game? Like what's happening?
I would play him. If Maguire's fit, I would play him. I don't know if Johnny Evans' legs can handle 2 games back to back 90 minutes. I don't know if it can handle that. I think for me the biggest concern is that if you play a strong lineup, you risk injury, and then if you rush people back from injury, you risk injury. I think the likes of Amrabat should play match fitness. This is a guy that ain't had a preseason, didn't play with Fiorentina, obviously needs the match fitness. The likes of Pellistri, Garnacho, Martial, there can be rotation in the team. It's very evident. Donny van der Beek, players that essentially, in my eyes, need to perform. They are rotation players and they need to perform. If you ain't getting, minutes in Carabao Cup, then what the hell are you doing at this team? Are you just a number on the bench at this point? I'd like to see Anana get some rest. Bayinda, could be his tournament. It wouldn't be the first time that our second keeper was our, cup goalkeeper. But I think we know Ten Hag probably won't rotate. I can imagine playing. I can imagine Bruno, Cass, Amrabat, obviously McTom. I don't think the likes of Mason Mount will be rushed back for this game. I think, if anything, anyone that's coming back off an injury, like Varane, Mount, Amrabat, I think they will be eased in rather than just, being dashed out there for 90 minutes in a Carabao Cup and then expected to play again on Saturday. Bearing in mind, we then got Champions League on Tuesday, the following Tuesday again. So
and have to win that as well.
Last season, we complained about, the number of games just coming thick and fast, and it seems like we found ourselves in that predicament again. The only difference is this time is that we've got a very thin squad. We've got a very, very thin squad. We're like probably 2 injuries away from seeing Bruno go in goal or something like that. So I think Ten Hag will go strong, but I would prefer for him not to, if I'm being honest. If you can't rely on your rotational players to play in a Carabao Cup game, then essentially what the hell are they there for?
Yeah, It's because it's Ten Hag, though, isn't it? Like, you just know what he's like. You know, the team's won, they've kept a clean sheet. I think he's going to be big on trying to build some momentum, trying to build a winning feeling with the same team. So
Rashford
that
will play. Rashford will play because he'll hope. As he'll feel like, you know, like, again, after the World Cup last year, Rashford played in those cup matches because he thought if he can start scoring goals, it starts to snowball in confidence. And I agree with what Christian's saying there. You would think Garnacho has to play Rashford rest, but I think given how bad Rashford's been playing, he might actually want to play him even more because of it, to just be like, we got to get him scoring. You know, you thought that maybe the goal against Arsenal would have been a bit of a catalyst for him. Clearly it wasn't. But I think he'll play. I don't think he'll make many changes. I think he'll make a couple. Maybe like Facundo actually starts again. But
would you go Højlund again or start Marcel?
Højlund.
Would you go Højlund though? Did you see when he took his shirt off? The amount of stuff he had on his back.
Yeah.
He had like strapping. He had the cup marks on his back as well.
Yeah, because we've got to manage it, innit? That's the thing. It's like we have to, but at the same time, when you over analyze and think, oh, but this player for this one and that one for that one and that one for that one, sometimes you do yourself out of that fluidity, that consistency, and you, like you said, your most important game is the next one. Like, if we don't, I know some people have said, like, sort of throw the Carabao Cup, we don't need it, we ain't got the squad, etc. But I'm telling you, if we lose at home to Palace on a Tuesday night after beating Burnley away, the feeling's not right. Like, we can't underestimate that. Forget the whole competition of the Carabao Cup. I get it. But in context of trying to build some momentum, we can't lose on Tuesday night just because we need to go on a run here, just in all comps, to just get a good feeling. And if you go out on pens to Crystal Palace or get beat, it's not going to feel good. And then you got to play them again under massive pressure a few days later in the Prem, after they've just had your number. Kenny, he's going to come in there.
Yeah, I think there's two things we've not mentioned here. We've got a manager that's under pressure. No matter how we look at it or like it, we love him. We know we love him, but people are out with knives for Ten Hag, right? And if we go at that cup on Tuesday night, them knives are coming back out and they'll be longer and cut deeper. You don't need to worry. But I also noticed as well last night, Reguilon went off holding his leg because he brought Amrabat on at left back. Now, if we've lost Reguilon as well, then we're really struggling. You're looking at Dalot going over to left back and Lindelof coming to right back. Then you've got to play Johnny Evans with Varane.
Just to let you know on that, Kenny, Ten Hag did say that Reguilon was ill, but he wanted
he did say he was ill. He did say he was ill.
But he was ill. I don't know what sort of illness holds your hamstring, but he did. But I think it's a mixture of fatigue and ill, yeah.
No, and if you remember last year, we had these same conversations, and Ten Hag being Ten Hag always plays his strongest team and tells you that. I'm here to win every game. Them's his words. Now, if you live and die by that philosophy, you will play your strongest team every time that you believe is available. Now, whether we think it's his strongest team is a matter of opinion. But in his eyes, I have no doubt that for the first 60 minutes, you will see Rashford, Casemiro, Højlund, Bruno. The only player you may not see is Onana because he needs a new goalkeeper in. And they did the same last year in the Carabao Cup. We played our number 2 last year. So
that's when Marcel thought Dubravka was the saviour. I remember those games.
Yeah. So I think the fans need a run. The fans definitely need a good run, right? The manager needs a good run. The club needs a good run. He's putting his strongest team out without a shadow of a doubt.
Do you know what? Just to move it on from that, actually, because something just came into my head. I saw a report just then, and I remembered what I saw earlier about Sergio Reguilon. Basically saying, there was a report saying that, could be in line to get a contract. And Fabrizio Romano said that Man United are very happy with Sergio Reguilon on and off the pitch. He has a great attitude and understands what Erik ten Hag is asking. He has had a very good impact. That's obviously, some information that he may have. Just on Reguilon, Mina, start with you. Owen touched on it earlier that the players that are playing all right are the ones that maybe thought, wow, can't believe I'm here, got to take this opportunity. What have you made of him since he's come in, and how do you think this is going to work out? Because obviously we got the break clause for January where we can just send him back, but how do you think this is going to play out?
I think how it plays out depends on where the hell is Malacia. Guys, where the hell is Malacia?
No one knows, bro.
He got injured in preseason. He was out for preseason. And then does this guy even exist? Are you sure we didn't sell him? are you not sure we didn't sell him this summer? Because I actually haven't seen him in any shape or capacity in Manchester United gear. Not even
in the fashion, man. He would normally go London Fashion Week or something, even though he's injured. He does the fashion thing and that. Just nothing. I
haven't even seen him in even in the crowd at games. I haven't even seen him there. Was he just he existed in our brain last season, and this season he doesn't exist? I think, however, Reguilon plays out for Manchester United, I think a big part of it depends on Malacia. Number one, number two, I wouldn't go so far and say that he deserves to stay right now, because I think it's way too early, and we have a history of judging players way too early. I'd rather see how the next 3-ish months plays out until January. Obviously, if Luke Shaw is expected to be out until then, it would make sense to keep him for the entire season, because Malacia is clearly not coming back. Luke Shaw will be out for pretty much half of the season. I've been happy with him. I think it said a lot in the last few games that one of our best players was a loanee signing. Bayern Munich game, even against Burnley, I think he did well. Even against Brighton in his debut, I think he did very well. So I think it says a lot that our fourth choice left back, who came here on loan on deadline day, I think that says a lot about the standards of the players in the team rather than Reguilon. That could happen, but I think
Amrabat's on loan.
Yeah, he's a loanee as well. He's a loanee. And for now, I would say let's not get too ahead of ourselves in regards to keeping him like permanent, not just permanently, but throughout the season. But I'd be happy with him to stay past January, because realistically, Luke Shaw is going to take some time for him to get back to match fitness. Malacia, I don't think will be coming back anytime soon. Once Dalot kind of solidifies his side on the right hand side, he's got 2 months of Wan-Bissaka being out to kind of claim that right hand side. It's a possibility, Ten Hag might prefer to keep him there. So it's always better to have an extra player on that left hand side as a choice. And Reguilon has been a decent servant.
Yeah, I think I agree in terms of even already, I can tell with the injury crisis and just how we're moving, we need players. So I'd keep him to the end of the season. I think I've made that up already. I wouldn't give him a contract longer than that already. No. I need to see more and stuff. And right now, Reguilon's playing, like you said, under the pretense of bloody hell. However, I can't believe this has happened. An opportunity has arisen for me to go Man United. I nearly went there 3 years ago. Didn't quite work out. Went Spurs, didn't quite work out. On loan at Atletico, didn't quite work out. Didn't know where I was going to be. Then they've got an injury crisis. And now there was another injury crisis when I got there. So I've got a chance to play. And he's running around like a blue-ass fly. He's running around like someone who's saying, sign me. Give me a contract. Give me a 3-year deal, please. And that's, you got to respect it. That's the hustle. That's what it is. Yeah. But actually, for where we're at in the season, ironically, because we ain't been good, and this is where you go, wow, this is what it is at Man United. We've got loanees in there trying to play their asses off of contracts. But actually, we do actually need that type of mentality to get out of this rut. We need people who will go, you know what, the quality might not always be there. The icing on the cake might not always be there, but they're going to do the basics and they're just going to play with intensity and passion and application just to get through. Like
what we had with
got that dog in him. Yeah, exactly. Just ran around and he was available. And do you know what? Even though Weghorst was rubbish because he couldn't score and stuff, he played in one of our most successful parts of the season, which was weird. Do you know what I mean? We played some massive games without Weghorst.
But it's a trophy.
He looked like a 10 at one point as well.
Yeah, exactly. We went to the new camp, and I honestly, when I looked down and I saw that he was playing in a 10 behind Marcus Rashford, I just thought, I can't believe this is happening. Weghorst was going in on like Frankie de Jong and Pedri and Gavi. Like, what? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Owen, do you think he's going to, stay beyond this, at least for a year?
I agree with what Mina was saying. I think it's too early to say when it comes to that. You'll see... I think he's probably playing with this extra tenacity because he's not even waited to the end of the season to get a new deal because there's a break clause in January. So he realizes my time at the club could be up by January. So realistically, I've got like 3 months. And with Malacia, the last that we heard was a knee injury. And the fact that they're being so vague about it would imply that it's probably quite long term. The last time I remember even seeing anything with Malacia was, I think, pre-season. there was a thing with like Alanga and Rashford. They were doing this like jumping routine and how far they could jump and stuff like that. That's the last time I've seen anything with Malacia. So looks like he'd be out for a while. And I think it's funny that Ten Hag said yesterday, he almost insisted when he spoke about Reguilon to say not only was he ill, but he said, but he wanted to play. He wanted to contribute. Maybe a bit of a side swipe to some people suggesting, no, there are some people in the squad that don't want to when they're feeling a bit under the weather and they're not that committed. He said he was ill and he still wanted to contribute. But then when you think about it, of course he does, because he wants a contract. Of course he wants to contribute. Of course he wants to force himself in. So I think his performances so far have been a credit to him. But it goes back to, has it been, are we happy with it because he's got all of this quality? Or are we happy with it because we're going, players that are trying, what a difference that makes, And that's really what it's about. It's about graft. It's about he actually puts in some work. He actually gets up and down the left. I felt a bit sorry for him at points yesterday playing with Rashford because sometimes defensively, that's a thankless task. It really, really is. 5 minutes in when Marcus Rashford hands off a runner to nobody and then suddenly he's got to give it he's already in behind. That's tough. So he deserves credit, but we'll see what it's like come the winter window. Frankly, I don't even know if Man United can afford to sign him in January anyway. He might have to wait till next summer to actually when United's budget gets reset again. So from an FFP point of view, but no, credit to him. Like again, as I said earlier, like Johnny Evans, like Hannibal, like whoever comes in from the periphery that's given it a go, they realise that they shouldn't be in this position. And like yesterday with Johnny Evans playing, it is Glazeronomics in the sense of like they shouldn't be here. And I guess credit to Erik Ten Hag as well, because he's making the best out of, some pretty dire circumstances, right?
Absolutely.
The injury crisis it's crazy. I think an unsung hero as well is Victor Lindelof. He's already played with like 3 or 4 different centre-back partners so far this season.
He's a proper steady Eddie, innit, Victor?
Yeah, the back four. We talk about, the amount of the Golden Glove last season, the struggles that Onana's had. And fair enough, his shot stopping is suspect. But realistically, our defence, have we named the same back four this season? In a game, literally, it changes every time. The back four we ended up with yesterday, we mentioned, was Amrabat at left back. Lindelof played at one point at full back. He moved back to centre back towards the end of the game. Varane came off. Evans went off. It's crazy. There's no continuity defensively. So, the fact we kept a clean sheet yesterday, I'm like, oh my goodness me.
I think going back to Reguilon as well, what we're forgetting is that Martinez is not. He's been out twice this season. So when Shaw comes back, Shaw could go to left centre-back for all we know, and Reguilon be the left back.
Just keep carrying on,
Exactly. So there's I do like his corners. I will mention that. I think the quality of his corners are excellent. The way he cuts them in, and Johnny Evans scored up one yesterday. So I think Reguilon's corners are very good. I'll give him that. I will give him that. Whether he deserves a contract for that, but I'll give him that.
Give him the contract for the corners. Give him a contract for the corners, man.
Just bring him on to the corners.
I know. Amrabat, let's have a little chat about Amrabat, actually, because in typical United fashion, we were like, yes, we're going to get a taste of him for 4 minutes. Plays left back.
I know.
Worried for him as well yesterday. You see when he came on. Yeah. When he came on, and he's squaring up to people.
Mate, honestly. But we want to see him and see what he's got to offer. Actually, before we carry that on, I'm going to get the super chats actually, because there's quite a few. We always we talk about Fletcher. There you go. John A says the main positive from yesterday was that we are sure Maguire will rarely play for us anymore. And Simanga says, when are you guys putting the Onana song in the intro? Big up yourselves. Been here since the days of the Flex and KG show in the United Stand, one of the originals. Don't know, actually. Don't know when we're going to do that. Andy, big up Andy's back. Andy says, unpopular opinion. Rather lose the next game and focus on the Premier League. Let us know if you agree with Andy.
It is unpopular, yeah.
That is unpopular.
Right.
I don't want to lose anything right now. John A says, we had 75 points with the formation we used last year. We would get more points if we maintain that play style. It suits our players. Interesting. Red Baron says, can we get this special medicine City, Liverpool and Arsenal used to heal our players? Arsenal got a few injury problems now as well. Danny says, Arsenal threw in the cups, 1-0. Go for every game. basically want something to look back for at the end of the season. Armour says, watch Reguilon's performances drop after signing a contract, United settings. And that's just it. Yeah, he is playing his heart out. He is playing every game like it could be his last, because in a weird way, it could be. Obviously not now with the injuries, but if people just start coming back, like if Luke Shaw comes back fit, he's playing. You know what I mean? If Martinez comes back fit, we're going back to that. So I suppose every little spotlight he has to shine, if I was him, I'd be doing exactly the same thing, man. I'd leave it all on the pitch. Ahmed says, the multiverse is broken. All these injuries and Marcel is fit to play. Yeah, that is ironic, isn't it, really? Unused sub yesterday. Yeah, that is. Multiverse is broken. Danny says, got to be real. Evans not doing that against Eze and co. And we did say that, didn't we? It's like, okay, cool. Like against Burnley away from home, he's had one of them kind of. He said he dreamt of that type of game. And it was almost like like a dream game for him, innit? I'll score, all right, it's disallowed, but I'll get a great assist and we win 1-0. And it's kind of all about me and my fairy tale. 200 appearances. Had to wait like 7 years to actually get the 200 for whatever it was. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about him, but exactly. If you got Eze darting down in your, do you know what I mean? Edward, or you know what I mean? Elise cutting in, doing madness, like it's different.
Proper pace and behind. You know
it's different. It's different. So we can't get carried away. But Amrabat. Marcel, what's your thoughts about, you know, how excited are you to see him? You know, that he's in the squad. So obviously managed a few minutes yesterday, so he should be ready to kick on and play some more minutes.
Well, like Owen was saying, there's so many problems in the club. Ten Hag's most used signing this season has been Onana. Mason Mount second has only played like half the games. Højlund just came back from a back injury, so he's only played a few minutes. And then Amrabat just got 4 minutes. So I think Amrabat's coming into the old version because it's last season's players that he'll be playing with, kind of thing. And there's no Weghorst or Marcel Sabitzer, so it's even a lesser squad that you have to try and fit into. And I think he's going into the 4-2-3-1. So with that being said, he mostly have a pivot partner. We won't see him, the version of him that I think he was bought to be, if that makes sense. He's going to be coming in, trying to build confidence into the squad, maybe play alongside Cass. So we'll be solid, we'll be strong, I think. I think we might have a period where there's a few clean sheets, because I think he looks after the space in between the centre backs and the space that he leaves in behind as the midfielder quite well. You know, he's really good at marking the space and being the last man in the midfield line. I'm expecting to see really cool, calm performances and someone with ball carrying ability. I don't think Bruno has it in the midfield. No, Money Mount doesn't really have it. He's good, he can do it, but he doesn't really have it, and neither does Cass, really. Cass has to pick the ball, pick and play. He can't carry the ball through the third. So there's one player definitely that can do it. I think Kobe can do it as well, but he's obviously still injured. We're waiting for him to come back. So it's going to be a ball carrying player that we kind of need in the team. I'm expecting a good kind of resurgence from him and hopefully a breakout season. It's going to be him or Hannibal that have the big season for us that we're not expecting it from a Man United player. So looking forward to it, man.
Hannibal's another one as well, isn't it? Yeah.
He did well last night.
He did, didn't he, Kenny?
Yeah, I was very impressed with the young man. I was very impressed because it was a tough call. That was a tough call for him. He made a couple of bad passes, but apart from that, his energy was excellent. And that's what we needed. His tenacity, his energy was completely different than McTominay's. The lad was hungry. You could see in the way he played. So I have no issues with that. So give the lad a chance.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one for Hannibal, because you coming into the squad, and that's for the same reasons why I said I would have started Palestri yesterday in my match preview. It didn't turn out that way, but that's basically the same reasons why Hannibal started. Like, he just give you the basics. He's going to run. He's going to work hard. He's going to be honest. And just set a base level. Doesn't mean Hannibal's going to be the savior. Doesn't mean Hannibal's the answer to everything. And, you know, we don't know how he's going to kick on from this, but he deserved his chance. And he played like a kid who said, I want to grab my chance. You know, Erik ten Hag said, I'm not going to go with Eriksen. You know, I want a bit more mobility. He had to play Scott. We still have couldn't play Amrabat or whatever, because, you know, Scott McTominay hasn't been playing great at all and carried that on yesterday, really. But he was the pick of the bunch. And actually, I think Owen spoke about it this morning. Like, I feel like he helped Casemiro, you know, and because, you know, by just being able to cover some ground where Casemiro either doesn't get exposed or he has to go and try and cover some ground, because that's not really his game. And in the first half, where Casemiro wasn't as good as the second, he still had some good interceptions, some good tackles, breaking up play. And then second half, he kicked on. So, yeah, I like what Hannibal does, man. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he uses him, because what we do know about Eric is that he doesn't just, fling kids in consistently. I mean, even Garnacho, when he's had little shining moments, he's back to the bench before you know it. Facundo started against Bayern. Do you know what I mean? Massive game. Then couldn't start against Burnley. That's what me and Owen literally said at the beginning of the week when we was doing the show. It was like, well, if he doesn't start against Brighton, he definitely ain't starting against Bayern. And he did. Then you think, well, if he starts against Bayern, surely he's got to start again and play against Burnley. Doesn't start. So, didn't even come on. So, I feel like
with Hannibal... With Hannibal, though, Flex, are you... Because he did play well yesterday, but of course he played as the 10 and Bruno was shifted out to the right. Obviously, I think most of us probably say here that Bruno on the right is... I don't think anyone's for it long term. Yeah. Because even yesterday he scored that great goal, but he's on the periphery of the game, and you want him to be more... You want him to be more involved. So where does that leave Hannibal if he is to try and get more regular minutes? Because once... I mean, I don't know what that solution to the right-hand side is, because at the moment, in Ten Hag's mind, maybe it's not Pellistri. Maybe it is Mason Mount. Maybe Mason Mount comes back in. Like, what does that mean for Hannibal then? Does he then drop deeper, do we think? I mean...
Yeah, I think he can play as another... He's clever enough and can cover enough ground to play like as an 8 in a midfield 3. Either like a left-sided 8 or a right-sided 8. So when we haven't got the ball, he can tuck in and play on the left or right. Next to Casemiro or alongside Bruno. He could do that.
Can he play the double pivot?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that deep. That's what I mean. If it was like a 4-2-3-1, I don't know about him sitting next to Casemiro. But again, it depends how you play the formation. Formations aren't rigid. Formations don't have to be, right, you're linking arms with Casemiro, so stay right next to him. Could be that when we have the ball, off you go. You can go and do your thing. When we have got it, get back in here and tuck in and just keep your shape. So, it's a bit of both, isn't it? He's just got the energy. Mina, what are you saying about Hannibal? Because I know you bigged him up yesterday as well. How do you think he could be used? Or is it like just in a bit of auxiliary, like he could just be used as and when we need him?
Yeah, I think if you watched him at Birmingham
City.
If you watched him at Birmingham City last season, he played a lot in the 10. He played a lot in the 8. And quite often he played in that, the half space between the 10 and the 8. So because he can cover a lot of ground for Tunisia, he plays in the 8, he plays in the 10 as well. I think it's very much going to be like when he's needed, he will play. Unless he goes on some crazy form where it's just impossible to drop him. Now, it's funny that everyone's praising Hannibal for covering a lot of ground, because when I was praising Fred last season, everyone was like, how you praising a player for running, which essentially is what Hannibal is doing right now, because we ain't got no runners in our midfield. He covers a lot of ground. I think he's improved his technical ability a lot, and he's a lot more professional. When he came from the academy, in his first few opportunities that he got under Ollie, he was a very rash player, very hot-headed, just a young player, So sending him out on loan last season was great, because it allowed him to develop as a senior player, but it also allowed him to develop a lot of attributes that he didn't have. And I think United will see the benefits of it. Of course, my biggest concern, not just for him, but mainly for Kobbie Mainoo, is that a lot of people are putting pressure on Kobbie being the answer to the midfield. And this is an academy kid that hasn't seen a full 90 minutes in a senior shirt in the Premier League. I think we shouldn't be too... Like we shouldn't be putting too much weight on his shoulders. We should allow him to come back from injury, kind of grow into the first team, those opportunities that he will eventually get. And I think Hannibal is just a bit more advanced in that development. That's not me saying that Kobbie Mainoo is not a good player. I think he's a great player. I think technically he's probably one of the best academy players that we've probably produced in the last couple of years. And it's quite telling that Ten Hag was keen to bring him through. I have this theory that Ten Hag brings one academy player through every year. We saw Garnacho last year. We're seeing Kobbie this year. So I think next year might be another academy player that gets that opportunity to be in that first team. I think with Hannibal, it's weird, because I thought he was going to leave this summer. Borussia Dortmund wanted him. A lot of European teams wanted him. But I'm glad that he stayed. I'm glad that he's not only showing people what he's worth, because I watched him a lot last season for Birmingham, and I really think he improved. I think he's become a great professional. And not just that, I think he's, that senior experience is what he needed. He weren't going to get that at United last year, and it was a good thing to send him out on loan. So I think this year, with the midfield issues that we have, with, Amrabat, he's a good player, but he's carrying injuries. So it's not guaranteed that he's going to be fit throughout the entire season. Casemiro, A, could be injured. B, could be more likely suspended for a game. So it's good to have the option of Hannibal. And I think in that midfield, what we lack, well, not even in the midfield, in the team, what we lack when we come up against teams is just strength, physicality, people that will run into a brick wall. And I think Hannibal is one of them. So I'm not saying that he should start every game, but I think he should start when needed to. When we come up against physical teams, and we need, someone that runs in the midfield, someone that's strong, and someone that has better ball technique than Scott McTominay. Because really and truly, I don't know why Scott McTominay is played.
Yeah, well said, man. A lot of people agree with you, saying spit facts there. A lot of people like what you had to say there. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said as well, for sure. K-Flow says, Ten Hag looked a man under pressure yesterday. We don't score enough, and fans were moaning about subs. I said this from last year. We can't expect game time for most players if games are close. And Insider United says, even in all, thank you for my mention the other day. Twitter account. I don't know if that actually is the same Twitter account for the YouTube. Sometimes, sometimes people make up accounts, but if it is you, big up. Getting some inside scoops there, doing well. So go check them out on Twitter. Insider United, you're welcome as well. Danny says, if you've watched Hannibal, didn't even play his game, played discipline for the system, more like Wrexham game. He's a conductor, shows footy IQ. Yeah, because in that Wrexham game, he was just, give me the ball, I'll have it. Just keep things ticking. I know he scored against Brighton, but every time I've watched Hannibal, not as much as Mina did last year when she was doing the loan view and stuff. I know she was, you watched loads of 90-minute games of Ahmad and Hannibal. Well, whenever I saw him a couple of times, it was like kind of just off the front, and like he just buzzes about, like he just don't stop. He's just got grit. He's got heart. It might not always come in goals or assists, but in terms of like helping the team play better, I did see that from the few times I watched him, and that is, I think, what Danny's saying there. Like he kind of sacrificed maybe what his normal game is, and just did a job for the team, which we definitely needed. David G says, does anyone know why we sold Iqbal on for so low? Well, because we're Man United and we don't sell anyone good ever.
For money.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there you have it. Listen, guys, thanks for joining us today. This evening, should I say? Been a top panel, been a good show, loads to talk about. Another big week. We came through 1 week, which we said was going to be a massive week for Man United that we had to get right, and in the end, it wasn't great in Bayern considering everything. 4-3 sounded better than it actually was, but it was all about that Burnley game, and we got through it. Now we got a favourable run of fixtures. Can we keep building? Just really, really quickly, Owen, prediction for this week, back-to-back Palace.
We'll win them both, and we'll play strong teams in them both as well.
Marcel, predictions?
I
agree.
I totally agree with you, Marcel. I totally
agree, Marcel.
2 wins. 2 wins. Crystal Palace are getting brushed twice. Sorry, guys, I muted my mic.
Mina, predictions?
I think we'll win midweek. I think we're going to draw at home.
Oh, Mina's gone with it. We're through in the Carabao Cup and then a draw in the Prem. Okay.
Yeah.
Kenny, how do you think we get on?
2-2
Oh, the suspense.
Cliffhanger.
But he did. To be fair, I think he explained.
Oh,
I think I was 2-2 in Ten Hag we trust. I got
correct. 2-2 in Eric we trust.
Perfect. There you go, guys. Get your predictions in as we leave. I think we'll get W's in both. I think they'll be slender.
Oh, we've lost.
Gonna be the same.
Damn.
But
Wow.
not gonna be easy. But yeah, there you go. No. That's not what we're doing anymore, Owen. No. Make up your mind. Which one are you doing? Which one are you doing?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Are you doing the judge? Are you saying the judge thing's real or are you not? Which one?
Oh, it's real.
Half.
It is real.
Right. Okay. So what you said this morning was a lie. Then.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. At least you owned it. At least you owned it.
Yeah. I was doing a solo stream. Of course, I was lying. Oh,
Okay.
I've got a time
Fair
to
play.
fill.
I
Come on.
just wanted to hear you admit it. That's fine. At least I know where I stand.
Yeah.
Smash the like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Morning view tomorrow as well. Match previews coming up. Games coming thick and fast. We'll see you all again soon. Take care. Peace.
Take care, everyone.